9 years ago, Bruno Mars delivered one of the most memorable moments of the 2017 Teen Choice Awards era, and what happened immediately afterward became a fascinating chapter in modern pop culture. In 2017, Bruno Mars was already one of the biggest names in global music. His album 24K Magic was dominating charts, his singles were everywhere, and his live performances had turned into major television events. But that year, another moment quietly set the stage for a music video that fans would still be talking about years later. After Bruno Mars won the prestigious Visionary Award at the Teen Choice Awards in 2017, attention quickly shifted toward his latest era, his music, and the visual world surrounding his hit song Versace On The Floor. And then came Zendaya. The music video for Versace On The Floor featured Zendaya, one of the most talented young actresses, singers, and performers of her generation. But the story behind her appearance made the collaboration even more interesting. According to the story surrounding the casting, Bruno Mars had seen Zendaya's performance on Lip Sync Battle and was impressed enough to personally ask her to participate in the music video. That decision would create a pairing that immediately captured attention. Bruno Mars and Zendaya came from different corners of entertainment. Bruno was already an established global superstar known for his voice, songwriting, choreography, musicianship, and retro-inspired stage presence. Zendaya was rapidly building her own identity as an actress, singer, dancer, and performer with an ability to move effortlessly between television, music, fashion, and film. Put those two names together, and the result was always going to attract attention. But what made Versace On The Floor so effective was that it did not rely on a massive storyline or an overloaded production. Instead, the music video created a cinematic atmosphere built around elegance, mystery, glamour, and anticipation. The song itself represented a different side of Bruno Mars. Following the explosive energy of 24K Magic, Versace On The Floor slowed everything down. The production was smoother, more intimate, and heavily influenced by the classic romantic ballads that inspired Bruno Mars throughout his career. The title alone sounded luxurious. Versace On The Floor. It immediately created an image in the listener's mind. Expensive fashion, sophisticated surroundings, late-night romance, and old-school Hollywood glamour. And that atmosphere became even stronger when Zendaya appeared in the video. There was something visually striking about seeing Zendaya alongside Bruno Mars. She brought a modern Hollywood presence to a song that intentionally looked backward toward the golden age of romantic pop music. That contrast was one of the reasons the video worked. Bruno Mars was not simply presenting another pop music video. He was creating a visual extension of the song's identity, and Zendaya was a major part of that visual identity. Before this collaboration, Zendaya had already demonstrated that she was much more than an actress. Her background in dance and performance gave her a natural ability to understand music visually. That made her appearance in Versace On The Floor feel believable rather than forced. But there is another reason this story continues to attract attention. The collaboration happened at a very important point in both stars' careers. For Bruno Mars, 2017 was part of the massive 24K Magic era. The album had already established a powerful identity, combining funk, R&B, pop, soul, and retro influences. Bruno was proving once again that he could move between energetic dance records and emotional ballads without losing his signature sound. For Zendaya, meanwhile, the late 2010s represented a major transition. She was growing from a Disney-era star into a broader entertainment powerhouse. Her acting career was expanding, her fashion profile was becoming increasingly influential, and her musical background remained an important part of her identity. So when Bruno Mars chose Zendaya for Versace On The Floor, it was not simply a random celebrity appearance. It brought together two performers who understood how important visual storytelling could be. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. Bruno reportedly became interested in Zendaya after watching her Lip Sync Battle performance. That detail reveals something about how modern music videos can come together. Sometimes, the casting decision is not based only on a resume. It can come from watching someone perform and recognizing something that fits the creative vision. Zendaya had already shown that she could command attention through movement, facial expression, timing, and stage presence. Those qualities translated perfectly into the atmosphere Bruno wanted for Versace On The Floor. The music video was released during a period when music videos were still enormously important to the success of a single. YouTube had become one of the most powerful platforms for music discovery, and fans were no longer consuming songs separately from their visuals. A successful music video could create a second life for a song. That is exactly what happened with Versace On The Floor. The song became more than an album track. It became an experience. And the presence of Zendaya added another layer to that experience. Imagine the timing. Bruno Mars has just received major recognition at the Teen Choice Awards. His 24K Magic era is generating enormous attention. Fans are following every appearance, every performance, and every new release. Then a cinematic music video arrives featuring Zendaya. Suddenly, the conversation expands. People are talking about Bruno Mars. They are talking about Zendaya. They are talking about the chemistry between the two performers. And they are talking about the luxurious visual style of Versace On The Floor. That combination helped turn the video into one of the defining visuals associated with Bruno Mars' 24K Magic era. But the biggest reason the video has remained memorable is the song itself. Versace On The Floor was designed to sound timeless. Its production is polished but restrained. The melody is emotional without becoming overwhelming. Bruno's vocal performance gradually builds throughout the song, allowing the arrangement to create a sense of anticipation. That structure is important. The song begins with restraint. Then the emotion grows. The vocals become bigger. The production becomes richer. And eventually, the track reaches the kind of dramatic emotional peak that Bruno Mars has become famous for creating. This is one of his greatest strengths as a performer. He understands escalation. He knows how to start small and make the final moments feel much bigger. The same principle can be seen in the music video. Instead of throwing everything at the viewer immediately, the visual presentation takes its time. The camera movement is deliberate. The lighting creates atmosphere. Zendaya becomes part of the mystery, and Bruno remains at the center of the musical performance. The result feels less like a conventional pop video and more like a short cinematic romance built around a song. That is why, years later, fans still remember the pairing. Bruno Mars and Zendaya were not simply two famous names placed in the same video. They represented two different forms of entertainment excellence coming together at exactly the right moment. Bruno represented the established global music superstar. Zendaya represented a rising generation of performers capable of crossing multiple industries. And their collaboration showed how powerful that combination could be. But there is an important detail that should not be overlooked. Zendaya's involvement was not simply about looking good on camera. Her own performance background mattered. Before becoming one of Hollywood's most recognizable stars, Zendaya had spent years developing her abilities as a performer. She had experience with dance, music, television, and live entertainment. That background made her particularly well-suited to a Bruno Mars production. Bruno has always worked with performers who understand rhythm and movement. His music is deeply connected to choreography. Even his slower songs require a performer to understand timing, expression, and physical storytelling. Zendaya possessed those qualities. So when viewers watched her in Versace On The Floor, they were seeing an artist who could communicate without needing a complicated dialogue or elaborate storyline. Her expressions and movements became part of the song. And that is one of the secrets behind an effective music video. The best videos do not simply illustrate lyrics. They create a feeling. Versace On The Floor creates a feeling of luxury and romance. The visual production reinforces that feeling. The wardrobe reinforces it. The lighting reinforces it. And the performances reinforce it. Everything points in the same direction. That kind of creative consistency is difficult to achieve. Yet Bruno Mars has repeatedly demonstrated an ability to build complete worlds around his music. From Uptown Funk to 24K Magic, from That's What I Like to When I Was Your Man, his biggest songs often come with a very specific visual and emotional identity. Versace On The Floor was no exception. In fact, it became one of the clearest examples of Bruno stepping away from the party atmosphere of 24K Magic and embracing the romantic side of his artistry. And that contrast made the album era stronger. Think about the range. One moment Bruno Mars could deliver a high-energy funk performance. The next, he could stand behind a microphone and deliver a dramatic ballad. Then he could create a sophisticated romantic record like Versace On The Floor. That versatility is a major reason Bruno Mars has remained one of the most recognizable artists in contemporary pop music. And Zendaya's presence helped underline that versatility. She brought a sense of modern elegance to a song inspired by classic romance. That combination was particularly powerful because Zendaya herself was becoming increasingly associated with fashion and high-profile visual culture. The title Versace On The Floor already suggested luxury. Adding Zendaya to that visual universe made the concept even more recognizable. For fans watching the video for the first time, the collaboration was unexpected. But sometimes unexpected casting creates the strongest memories. And this was one of those moments. 9 years later, the story continues to circulate because it connects several major moments in pop culture. Bruno Mars, the 24K Magic era, the Teen Choice Awards, Zendaya, Lip Sync Battle, and one of Bruno's most romantic songs. It is also a reminder of how quickly careers can evolve. In 2017, Zendaya was already famous. But the global scale of her career would continue to expand dramatically in the years that followed. She would go on to become one of Hollywood's most prominent young stars, earning major recognition for her acting work and becoming a major figure in fashion and entertainment. Bruno Mars, meanwhile, continued building one of the most successful careers in modern music. His catalog continued to generate billions of streams. His live performances remained among the most celebrated in pop music. And his ability to create songs with long-lasting appeal became even more obvious over time. That makes the Versace On The Floor collaboration particularly interesting when viewed from today's perspective. We now know how enormous both careers would become. But in 2017, the future was still being written. Zendaya was on the rise. Bruno Mars was at another peak. And this music video captured both artists during a moment of transition. There is also something fascinating about the fact that the collaboration reportedly began with Bruno simply seeing Zendaya perform on television. One performance caught his attention. That performance led to an invitation. The invitation led to a music video. And that music video became part of Bruno Mars' visual legacy. Sometimes, major moments in entertainment begin with something surprisingly simple. An artist watches another performer. They recognize talent. They imagine a collaboration, and suddenly two careers intersect. That is the story behind one of the most memorable Bruno Mars and Zendaya collaborations. And when you watch Versace On The Floor today, knowing that history changes the way the video feels, you are no longer watching only a romantic Bruno Mars music video. You are watching a snapshot of two major performers at an important point in their careers. The video captures Bruno during the 24K Magic era, when his music was dominating global pop culture. It captures Zendaya before many of her biggest career milestones had arrived. And it captures the power of television, music, fashion, and social media colliding in the late 2010s. That is why this story still matters. It is not simply about nostalgia. It is about timing. It is about creative instinct. And it is about recognizing talent before the rest of the world sees just how far that talent can go. Bruno Mars saw something in Zendaya's performance on Lip Sync Battle. He believed she could fit the world he was creating for Versace On The Floor. And the final result became one of the most recognizable celebrity collaborations attached to the song. There is a reason fans continue to search for Bruno Mars and Zendaya. Versace On The Floor, Zendaya Lip Sync Battle, Bruno Mars music videos, 24K Magic, and the story behind the collaboration. The connection represents something larger than a single music video. It represents a moment when two stars from different parts of entertainment crossed paths at exactly the right time. And perhaps the most satisfying part of the story is that neither performer needed to explain what the collaboration meant. The music did the talking. The camera captured the atmosphere. The performances carried the emotion. And the audience completed the story. 9 years later, Versace on the Floor remains one of those music videos that instantly transports fans back to a specific era of pop culture. The era of 24K magic. The era of Bruno Mars at the center of global pop. The era when Zendaya was rapidly becoming one of entertainment's most recognizable young stars. And the era when one television performance on Lip Sync Battle could lead to an invitation from Bruno Mars himself. That is the detail that makes the story so compelling. Before the music video, there was a performance. Before the collaboration, there was an impression. And before the global attention, there was simply Bruno Mars watching Zendaya and recognizing something special. That small moment ultimately became part of the history of Versace on the Floor. And every time the opening notes of the song play, fans are reminded of the elegant, cinematic world Bruno Mars created during the 24K magic era. A world where romance, music, fashion, performance, and Hollywood glamour came together. And at the center of that world stood Bruno Mars and Zendaya. 9 years later, the collaboration still feels remarkably memorable. Not because it was the biggest production, not because it depended on shock value, but because the casting, the music, the visuals, and the atmosphere all worked together. Bruno Mars brought the voice. Zendaya brought the performance. The song brought the emotion. And the music video brought everything together. That is why Versace on the Floor continues to hold a special place in Bruno Mars' catalog. It is a reminder that some of the most unforgettable moments in pop culture are created when artists trust their instincts. Bruno Mars saw Zendaya perform. He recognized her talent. He invited her into his creative world. And the rest became music video history. If you remember the Bruno Mars and Zendaya Versace on the Floor era, this is one collaboration that deserves another look. The song, the visuals, the 24K magic era, and the story behind Zendaya's casting all show just how powerful one creative decision can become. And 9 years after that unforgettable moment, the legacy of Versace on the Floor continues, not only as one of Bruno Mars' most romantic songs, but as a time capsule of two extraordinary performers before their careers reached even greater heights. So the next time you hear those opening notes, remember the story behind them. Remember the 2017 era. Remember the Teen Choice Awards. Remember the lip sync battle performance that caught Bruno Mars' attention. And remember the collaboration that brought Bruno Mars and Zendaya together in one of the most memorable music videos of the 24K magic generation. If you enjoyed the story and want more breaking celebrity news, Bruno Mars updates, music history, Hollywood stories, and the hidden stories behind iconic pop culture moments, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because sometimes, the most fascinating part of a famous music video isn't what happens on screen. It's the story of how the stars ended up there in the first place. But the story of Versace on the Floor does not end with the release of the music video. In many ways, the real significance of that collaboration became clearer as both Bruno Mars and Zendaya continued to evolve. At the time, audiences could appreciate the glamour, the music, and the unexpected pairing. But looking back now, the collaboration feels almost like a snapshot taken just before both stars entered another level of global recognition. And that is what makes the video so fascinating. It captured Bruno Mars during one of the defining eras of his career, while Zendaya was still building the foundation for what would become an extraordinary Hollywood career. The timing could hardly have been more interesting. Bruno was coming off an era filled with massive singles, unforgettable performances, and a sound that deliberately blended modern pop with influences from funk, R&B, soul, and classic ballads. Meanwhile, Zendaya was demonstrating that her talents could extend far beyond the television screen. Her appearance in Versace on the Floor allowed audiences to see another side of her. There was elegance, there was confidence, and there was a natural understanding of how to exist inside a music video without overpowering the song itself. That balance is extremely important, A celebrity cameo can sometimes feel disconnected from the music, but Zendaya's appearance felt connected to the atmosphere Bruno Mars was creating. The video did not need a complicated plot to keep viewers watching. Instead, it relied on mood, the lighting, the setting, the wardrobe, the camera movement, the slow pace, and, of course, Bruno's voice. Everything was designed to create anticipation. That anticipation is also one of the reasons the song itself remains so popular. Versace On The Floor does not rush, takes its time. The song allows Bruno Mars to gradually build the emotional intensity, and that slow progression gives the listener the feeling that something bigger is coming. This is very different from the energy of 24K Magic, and that contrast was intentional. Bruno Mars had already shown that he could make people dance. Now he wanted to show that he could create a modern romantic classic. The song became one of the clearest examples of his ability to channel the sound of another generation while still making it accessible to a contemporary audience. That ability has always been central to Bruno Mars' career. He studies the past, but he does not simply copy it. He takes familiar sounds and gives them a modern identity. With Versace On The Floor, the influence of classic romantic ballads is obvious. The song feels luxurious without becoming excessive. It feels emotional without becoming overly dramatic. And it feels nostalgic without sounding outdated. That combination is difficult, but Bruno understood exactly what he was trying to create. Then Zendaya entered the picture. Her presence added a visual dimension to the song that reinforced the idea of sophistication. And the connection became even more interesting because of the reported origin of the collaboration. Bruno did not simply choose Zendaya because she was famous. He had seen her perform. That distinction matters. In entertainment, talent recognition often happens in unexpected places. A television performance can reveal something that a resume cannot. A few minutes on stage can show an artist's charisma, rhythm, timing, and ability to connect with an audience. That was apparently what Bruno saw when he watched Zendaya on Lip Sync Battle. And that observation became an opportunity. For Zendaya, being approached by an artist of Bruno Mars' level represented another important step in her transition from a young television star into a broader entertainment figure. For Bruno, it meant finding a performer who could fit the exact visual world he had imagined. The collaboration worked because both sides brought something different. Bruno had the established musical identity. Zendaya had a fresh and contemporary presence. Together, they created a visual combination that felt both classic and modern. And if you look closely at the larger story of 2017, that was exactly the kind of balance Bruno Mars was pursuing. The 24K Magic era was built around nostalgia, but it never felt stuck in the past. Bruno used retro clothing, classic choreography, vintage-inspired sounds, and old-school performance techniques, but presented everything through modern production. Versace On The Floor followed the same philosophy. It looked backward while remaining firmly connected to contemporary pop culture. That is why the music video still feels recognizable today. The visual language is simple, the emotion is clear, and the song has a melody strong enough to survive changing trends. There is another reason the collaboration remains interesting. Both Bruno Mars and Zendaya became major figures in fashion as well as entertainment. Bruno's stage image has always been closely connected to his musical identity. His outfits, hairstyles, accessories, and performance style became part of the overall Bruno Mars brand. Zendaya developed a similar relationship with fashion, eventually becoming one of the most discussed style figures in Hollywood. Looking back, seeing Zendaya inside a music video titled Versace On The Floor almost feels perfectly aligned with the direction her career would later take. The video combined music, celebrity culture, luxury fashion, and cinematic presentation. Those elements would continue to play major roles in Zendaya's public image. But there is one detail that makes the entire story even more remarkable. The collaboration was created before audiences could fully understand how influential both performers would become. At that moment, nobody knew exactly what the next decade would bring. Nobody knew how many major films Zendaya would headline. Nobody knew how far her fashion influence would grow. Nobody knew how many more milestones Bruno Mars would achieve. And yet, there they were, together in one music video. That is what makes old music videos so fascinating. They are time capsules. They preserve not only the song but also the careers, fashion, technology, and cultural atmosphere of a particular moment. Versace On The Floor is one of those time capsules. When viewers return to it years later, they are not only listening to Bruno Mars. They are remembering the 24K magic era. They are remembering Zendaya's rise. They are remembering the evolution of music videos. And they are seeing two stars at a very specific point in their journeys. There is also a lesson in the way Bruno approached the collaboration. He recognized that the right visual partner can make a song feel bigger. Music is obviously the foundation, but visuals influence how audiences remember a song. A great performance can become inseparable from the track itself. That happened with many Bruno Mars songs. And Versace On The Floor became strongly associated with its elegant visual presentation. The song's emotional atmosphere was amplified by the video. The video gave the song a visual identity, and Zendaya became part of that identity. That is why searches for Bruno Mars Zendaya, Versace On The Floor music video, Zendaya Bruno Mars, and Bruno Mars 24K Magic continue to bring people back to this moment. The collaboration represents a crossroads between music and Hollywood. But there is something else fans often appreciate about Bruno Mars. He has always been extremely intentional about presentation. Whether he is performing in a stadium, appearing on television, releasing a music video, or walking onto an awards show stage, there is usually a clear aesthetic behind the moment. That attention to detail is part of why his performances have such a strong identity. And Versace On The Floor is a perfect example. Nothing feels accidental. The title establishes the mood. The production establishes the mood. The vocal arrangement establishes the mood. The visuals establish the mood. And the casting establishes the mood. Everything points toward the same emotional destination. That level of consistency is what separates a memorable music video from a simple promotional clip. It becomes a complete artistic statement. And that is exactly how Versace On The Floor should be remembered. Not merely as another Bruno Mars single, but as a carefully constructed piece of the 24K magic era. And Zendaya's involvement gives the story an additional layer that becomes more meaningful with time. Imagine discovering the video today without knowing anything about the careers of the two stars. You would see Bruno Mars, already a major pop star, performing a sophisticated romantic song. You would see Zendaya, already charismatic and confident, bringing a cinematic quality to the video. But then you discover the timeline. You realize that this was 2017. You realize how early it was in Zendaya's journey compared with everything she would accomplish afterward. And suddenly, the video becomes a snapshot of a much bigger story. It becomes a moment before the next chapter. That is why fans continue to revisit it. Nostalgia is powerful, but nostalgia becomes even stronger when you know what happened afterward. The audience can look at Zendaya today and recognize the superstar she became. Then they can look back at Versace On The Floor and see one of the earlier moments when she was already displaying the qualities that would later define her career. The same applies to Bruno. The 24K magic era was not the end of his story. It was another major chapter in a career that continued to evolve. His music continued to reach new audiences. His catalog continued to grow. His performances continued to generate global attention. And collaborations continued to show different sides of his artistry. But among all those moments, Versace On The Floor remains special because of its simplicity. It did not need a massive cast. It did not need an explosive concept. It needed the song, the atmosphere,